be honest, I had like a whole setup for this where I was gonna talk about how Dragapult's winning all these tournaments and whatever, but like I'm not gonna tease you with it. We're talking about the one, the only. It's me, Raging Bolt. Yes, Raging Bolt, we're talking about you today. I'm so excited. So yeah, I'm talking about my first and favorite deck, Raging Bolt EX. Going to rotation, there was one big question that needed to be answered about Raging Bolt. What would Raging Bolt look like post-rotation with Sawdust Determination out of the rotation? Sawdust Determination was the supporter card that kind of enabled Raging Bolt to be the aggressive deck it's known to be. You could take up to 2 energies out of your discard pile and attach them to 2 different ancient Pokemon in play. It was a really powerful trainer that not only allowed Raging Bolt to attack first, going second, and really start that prize race, but it also allowed you to recycle energies from the discard pile. Since they were going in there anyways with Raging Bolt's Bellowing Thunder attack. With its departure from the format, Raging Bolt lost some of its bite. It also doesn't help that Raging Bolt lost about 20 cards in total, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to just kind of sweep that under the proverbial rug. The loss of Sada hurt, but honestly, I wasn't really too worried. Crispin allows for the same setup of aggression at the start of the game while sacrificing some of the aggression at the end of the game. As a Raging Bull player, what worried me most was the high health Pokemon that were coming into the format that seemed to be better aggressive support. Raging Bolt's attack power is just learning about your 7 times tables. Only you don't really have to learn all of them. Last rotation, the most of the biggest threats were like 3 to 4 discard energies to kill. And that was kind of the easiest number to reach. It was usually about 2 teal dances, and energy from Raging Bolt would do the trick. However, things get a little bit hairy when you're looking at something that has like 5 or 6 energy range, with Mega Venusaur being one of the 6 energy range Pokemon. Most of the stage 2 Megas are. In order to reach the 5 energies comfortably to kill like Dragapult pre-rotation, I would need at least 1 Teal Dance, energy from Raging Bolt, and then either another ancient Pokemon in play from Sada, another Teal Dance, a Glass Trumpet. It's a lot of ass, especially when you've been Iono'd previous to that moment. So losing Sada hurts, and the prevalence of Dragapult is kind of made it iffy but bad at best. However, I still believe that Raging Bolt could be playable in this new format. And actually, I'm starting to believe now that it might actually thrive in this format. And a lot of professional players believe that too. Ian Robb at the beginning of the season was singing Raging Bolt's praises. And it gave me hope that he and some of the other professional players had found a miracle deck list that would bring Raging Bolt back to his former glory. I'm not going to lie, that deck list is not it at all. And I just think it's not great. The deck list is fine on paper. It's big basics with a bigger toolbox feel. Teal Maskocon becomes the glue that holds the deck together, enabling extra energy acceleration, as well as easy energy switch pivots from like Lily's Clefable or Clefairy or Mega Kangaskhan, and like some as them also being extra attackers. Mega Kang was an early draw power with an early attacker. Lily's Clefable was the situational for attacking Dragapult and Mega Lucario. But Raging Bolt really took a backseat to its own deck. It wasn't the star anymore, and the deck was a little bit more situational and less dependable. This was actually pointed out recently in Tricky Jim's recent podcast. They had kind of were looking over the decks, and they were like, yeah, Raging Bolt's not really the star of its deck anymore. Which kind of hurts. Now, like, if I prized a crucial, like, Psychic Energy against Dragapult, Clefairy became useless in that big basics list. And it's just been just a 2 prizer waiting to be picked off. Kang can put the deck behind in the prize race if taken out right away because it's worth 3 prizes, and Raging Bolt's biggest weakness is taking an extra prize to having to take an extra prize in the prize race. Like, you don't want to be taking 1 prize or You know, you want to be taking like 3 to 2 prizes. Once you fall behind, it's kind of all over. You're just kind of hoping that your opponent slips up. It is one of the reasons why I actually started playing Dragapult EX at the end of the season last season. I was kind of just tired prize racing Goldengos and Gardevoirs the entire game and then getting Iono'd at the end. So I'm pivoting. Raging Bolt's greatest strength is that it does not need to be held down by the type of energy in the deck. It just needs a lot of it, and it needs to be able to have it excelled quickly. I thought about building an Ethan's package with Ethan's Ho-Oh as the main accelerator. Ethan's Ho-Oh allows you to accelerate 2 fire energies to any of your Ethan's Pokemon. And I think it could still work, but it would need to be explored with a draw engine for the deck, as abandoning all the current Raging Bolt deck draw engines by pivoting kind of ruins the Ethan's Ho-Oh. I thought again about Super Compressed build, with just building 4 Raging Bolt, 4 Ogerpon, 4 Kang in the deck. Again, I just really hate giving up that many prizes, and Dragapult can kind of bully that version of the deck. I finally settled on 2 different partners for this deck. My first crazy build of this deck was a Team Rocket Box style deck with Raging Bolt and Rocket Spidops. The Spidops would basically act like Professor Sada's, recycling the energies in the discard pile back onto themselves. They could also act as a single prize attacker if the match called for it. What was really important, though, was Team Rocket has support disruption, which at the time of me building this, reset stamp was the only, or unfair stamp was the only hand disruption, really, other than Judge. This deck, unfortunately, has kind of been left unfinished, as I just found balancing the Rocket Engine with Raging Bolt to be a little too difficult, and I just really can't justify shoving Raging Bolt in the deck when Mewtwo is just a weaker but more health and better fitting version of Raging Bolt. I have settled on a better partner, though. Iono's Bellibolt. I know. Crazy. As a Raging Bolt player, I never thought I would actively be excited to see Iono anything, but here we are playing the Iono's package with Raging Bolt. So let's break down my deck for a moment. The Iono's package provides 2 really big things in this deck: Energy Acceleration and Draw Engine. As an added bonus, the Energy Acceleration is one of 2 types. Raging Bolt actually requires for attack, Lightning. It just seems like it's kind of the perfect partner for this aggressive trombone of a Pokemon. Iono's Bellibolt's ability allows you to accelerate lightning energy to any of your Iono's Pokemon as many times as you want during your turn, which allows you to quickly get 5 or 6 energies on board without having to worry about drawing other cards that would assist in getting in on the field. Iono's Kilowattrel is like kind of the perfect draw engine for this deck. By discarding a lightning energy from your Kilowattrel, you're able to draw until you have 6 cards in hands. It gets a little tricky when you start having some dead hands, but with Iono's Bellibolt, you can chain some crazy draw to the point where it's not uncommon for me to draw out the entire deck completely. Kilowattrel also provided an easy way to get an unfair stamp as long as you preload the bird with the lightning energy before you kind of end your turn by killing something. Or if you get lucky into drawing a lightning energy, that also helps. This kills one of Raging Bolt's biggest weakness, the tempo disruptors, the hand disruptors. The amount of games I have lost to a late game Iono last rotation still haunt me to my very core. Like, I could spend 20 minutes talking about it. I hate the Iono supporter so much. I'm so glad it's gone. I'm sorry to everyone who loved it. The Iono's package allowed for an alternative attacker too in Bellibolt and Kilowattrel. Bellibolt does about 240 and it costs 3 lightning and a colorless and has a recharge turn. Kilowattrel is a straight 70 with 2 lightning and a colorless. I liked that none of my support Pokemon were basically useless in a match. I could use them as alternative attackers as long as, the situation called for it. With a great support package picked out, I have one more challenge that I needed to overcome. Sada's biggest benefit was allowing me to recycle energies throughout the game. Iono's Bellibolt allows me to accelerate the energies, but getting them back on was a different story. The easiest answer was a stadium built specifically for the Iono's deck, Levincia. Levincia is a stadium card that allows both players to take 2 lightning energies from their discard pile by putting them into their hand. 2 lightning energies aren't always enough, but it is a start. It also added a very easy add 2 energy retrievals to your. I also added 2 very easy 2 energy retrievals into the deck and a couple of Night Stretcher that also help with Pokemon recovery. In the end of testing, I also found that kind of wasn't enough energy retrieval for Raging Bolt to really be successful against the Mega Pokemon on stage 2. I'd find these like situations where I'd really need like 5 or 6 more energies to take out like a Dragapult or a Venusaur, and I just got nothing left in the tank. And so I decided I needed to change my A-Spec from Unfair Stamp to, I think, probably the best A-Spec for Raging Bolt, Max Rod. Max Rod fits perfectly in the deck as it allows me to grab grab 5 of any combination of Pokemon or energies out of the discard pile and put them in my hand. So many games I have won by the late game Crispin into the Raging Bolt, Max Rod for all my energies, Turbo energize them onto Bellibolt for game. I don't think I see a lot of people see it coming, and I think it's kind of the only energy that, or the only like A-Spec that exists for the deck right now. Those are the bones of my new deck, and if I wrote about this deck 3 months ago, I probably would have left it like that, or at least made the video about it. But I've been kind of playing the deck a lot, and I'm trying to make it work. One of the problems that I found was how clunky it is to set up. Regardless of how much draw support I have in the deck, I was just kind of stalling in the early game, just trying to set up Raging Bolt. You know, back in the day, I used to be able to Sada and get 3 more cards off of the Sada, plus Teal Dance, as many Teal Dance as I want, and then whatever I was missing, I would just Knocked Owl back into my hand. So I'm finding that I'm having a lot of hard time kind of drawing through the deck to get stuff I want. At the time, I was kind of experimenting when I first built the deck, was experimenting with the single prize attacker and Iono's Voltorb, but I ended up banishing him from the deck as I felt like it kind of really felt bad in the deck. It never really one-shot anything I wanted, and in the late game, it was just a hindrance more than it was like a tool. So I'm been exploring other options. In early deck lists I was looking at and building, Pichu was a solid pick. Item locking your opponent is always fun in the early stages, but at the end of the game, it just doesn't really feel like it makes a difference. It also just became a lot of times like an easy damage counter fodder for Dragapult, and I was kind of trying to avoid giving Dragapult 2 or 3 prizes in a turn consistently with a little bit of advantage, you know. I don't want to fall behind in Dragapult. I want to be more ahead when Dragapult finally does get set up. During one of my last League Cups of the year, I got into a discussion with some players who are now a part of my testing group who suggested either Ethan's Pichu or Stunfisk in the deck. Both have been really great options for utility that they bring. I tested Stunfisk first. This card was released in Ascending Heroes, and for 1 lightning energy, did 30 damage, locked your opponent in the active. And on the following turn, your opponent takes 100 extra damage. So about 130 if it's the Stunfisk again. In testing at various tournaments, the card is solid at being disruptive when it needs to be. However, it is a 2 retreat cost Pokemon, which makes it hard to get out of the active without Air Balloon. I also found many decks that I was playing against in my area really did not care if I locked their Pokemon in the active. I found more often than not that they just took the extra time creating a checkmate situation on me and then just waited until I was done playing chicken. I'm looking at you, Alakazam. I also found this kind of same feeling with Maractus. Someone had suggested Maractus to me at one point, and I'd played it, but kind of found the same situation just without the 2 retreat. However, I think in my most recent testing, it's kind of led me to my new favorite addition that I think is a permanent stay, Ethan's Pichu. It can easily kill a Badoo with no energy cost, so goodbye, Badoo, you're not a problem anymore. It also allows me to draw an extra card at the end of the turn. The extra card draw early in a game has made playing Raging Bolt feel more like playing Raging Bolt with some new tricks. Ethan's Pichu also has free retreat, so it makes my life so easy when trying to figure out who to promote next when my Pokemon has been knocked out. As long as I have a Ethan's Pichu on the bench, I just promote it and then swap it whenever it makes sense for my next attack, whoever it is. Or I can just use the Pichu as a sacrifice and I can attack and draw a card. Hopefully it gets me out of a bad situation. It has been nothing but a bonus for me. I've also found that like it's useful in the late game because it has that free retreat option. I will be honest though, I do keep going back and forth about which one of these two is the better fit. Right now, I think it's Pichu, but it could be Stunfisk in a couple of metas from now. I also have thought about putting the baby Cinderace in the deck instead of Pichu and Stunfisk for the early game starters. And Energy Acceleration. It's mostly early Energy Acceleration with a little bit of free retreat and a fire type attacker to take out grass types to do a lot of damage on grass types early on. Unfortunately, this deck idea has literally just come to me and I have yet to test it. So I'll let you know what I think of it at another time. If you have some suggestions though, like please leave them in the comments below. I found that in talking to people about a deck build or my problems in a deck, I have found that people have given me solutions that I never thought of, or cards that I just didn't think about before. The Stunfisk being one of them. So please, like, throw your comments below. Unfortunately, Raging Bolt doesn't have the best matchup into everything, though. I think his position is getting better. And in recent days, I have been thinking it might have a favorable matchup into most of the meta, but I'd like to see what Worlds is like first. So, Raging Bolt's favorable matchups is literally anything that is a mega or has mega, like more mega tendencies to it. As long as it can get set up, it's pretty much game over. As long as you can target down the mega evolutions quickly for an easy prize. Easy prizes. It's not that hard to set up, so it's not that hard to take those 3 prizes quickly, including on Kangaskhan. I have also noticed that it does pretty favorably into big box style decks, just due to the nature of these decks being full of EX Pokemon, so slot box and things like that. Yeah, Clefairy is a problem, and we're scared of it, but it also only has 119 HP, which is to your advantage. Raging Bolt's greatest major weakness is its single prizers. Alakazam in particular, when I built this deck, I did not include a lot of hand disruption, choosing to be hyper aggressive instead because that's my playstyle. Although a great choice when leaning into more multi-prize decks, Alakazam just kind of gets away with taking easy wins there. I could fix this by experimenting more with hand disruption options like Judge and Red Card, which is something I have been thinking about recently, but I just haven't sat down and looked at the deck yet. I also still have some issues against Dragapult. I think part of those is just because Dragapult is just the meta right now, and there's 4 different types of playing it. But it could be me as a player as well. I have started deck testing on paper as well as in digital, the matchup to see if I can crack it before a regional start again. I found that if a Dragapult gets on the field, I usually have problems. But if I can take a bunch of Pokemon out early, it becomes a close game. So it's kind of closing out those games that really matter. But on screen is going to be the deck list. So I'm actually kind of more interested to hear what you have to say about the deck and what you guys think. Feel free to test it. I'll put the list in the description below to hear more what you guys are thinking about the deck and feel free to throw some stuff into it and innovate. There will be more videos on this deck in the future, and we'll probably be doing some more stuff. I'm off script now. I'm sure you can all tell. I follow a creator called Chef Husky. He did a lot of Team Rocket deck, but he also does a lot of experimental decks, rogue deck content. And there was a thing that he did where he ranked every card plus a few more that he was thinking about adding to the deck in his deck. And he figured out a deck list that probably worked out better for him and played a lot more smoother. And I think for Raging Bolt in particular, trying to figure out where to put maybe a few more hand disruptions, a judge or a red card, something like that in the deck, this deck would really benefit from me laying all the pieces out and ranking them appropriately based off of that. So expect more of that in the future, more testing of the deck in the future. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. I appreciate you all watching and listening to me ramble about my favorite deck and the deck list I have made. There will be more content in the future, leading up to Worlds. So, and then beyond that, this is not the first time you'll see Raging Bolt.
No, this isn't the first time at all.
But you'll see him more later.
Really?
Yes, you will be hear more Raging Bolt.
Oh, good. I like being on that video.
So, get ready to see more of him because he'll be around. But thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, please subscribe and like and hype and do all the fun stuff. Stick around because there's definitely more coming to the channel. If you like Pokemon content, Let's Play content, and World of Warcraft content, feel free to stick around and subscribe. There is a video that YouTube thinks is the best next watch for you, and here at the below is the playlist to the video you just watched. Maybe you like some more content kind of like that. Thanks for watching. Bye.